One of the most frequent questions I get from prospective clients, from real clients who are already on the map here, from people out there who wonder what the heck it is that I do for a living is, why does PR take so long? Why does media relations take so long? Media relations is one part of PR. It's not the whole thing. It just does. It takes a long time because it's not required for other people to know what you're doing on their own time. In general, PR is earned reputation that is not paid for. So you're not paying someone to understand. You're not paying for that time and place for your message. It is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And it's what other people who are tastemakers or who are influencers, media influencers, newsletter analysts, all those kind of things say about you when you're not there. Not because they have to, but because they know you. And in general, well, in the universe of what's possible of who would know you, if you're not a publicly traded company and not making markets, if you are not things that would happen at the top of the news, you haven't hurt anybody, you're not going to war, the weather, the traffic, you didn't create a problem, think about those things that are breaking news. If you're not that company, which most companies aren't, then you're going to have to work to have people understand who you are and think it's important. That takes time. That's called reputation. And reputation is the trust people have in you and the belief that people have in you. And it is not an exercise of the moment. It is exercise over time. And if we think about public relations and all of its pieces, so media relations, customer relations, employee communications, stakeholder communication, community relations, all those things, those are all communications dialogues that you are having with people that you want to have on a certain time. And maybe the other side doesn't want to have that on a certain time, right? Because there's no compelling reason necessarily to understand it right this second. Now, of course, driving awareness, that's the goal. Awareness, reputation, trust is a thing that marketing sits on top of. So awareness is when that moment comes that I want something, I know where to go. Oh, that moment comes where, you know what? I do have a need for something new. I'm going to try that new thing. Or the moment comes where I am going to go on vacation and I heard about this great place and now I'm going to look. In general, when companies in general put things into the marketplace, the consumer, the user, the buyer, the subscriber, the partner may or may not be right at the right time for you. It has to work for them. So your job is to lay down a reputation, earn a reputation, lay down communication, be in dialogue with those people that matter to you consistently, frequently, not so much you're a pain in the ass, but frequently with value so that when they need you, you are there. And then you think about marketing, which is paid, that goes on top of it. That is really driven to marketing in general, right? Creating short-term demand on top of a long-term reputation. And public relations is that practice of long-term reputation and awareness. So why does it take so long? Because it does. And we're asking people who do not have to do something to either write about you, to say something good about you, to try something of yours, not because they have to, because they want to. And it has to work, it has to meet the other person's need, the other person's interest, and the other person's timing all at the same time. So if you think about media relations, then just think about media relations, which is the process of talking with media analysts, producers, so that they will include you or profile you or interview you in a news item, a report, a television show, a radio show, an article. Then let's think about how long those things take. And so in general, anyone who says, oh, I can get you a story tomorrow, that's not sponsored or paid, is for the most part, unless you are, again, a market maker, we're going to change the world, literally. Maybe stretching the truth a little bit. Really, we should be thinking about it takes 6 months to see appreciable traction in media relations, just media relations. Research and planning, 1 to 2 months. Let's break it down. 1 to 2 months research and planning, because a plan with the requisite positioning and the messaging, it takes, 30 to 60 days to do that. And when you have a plan, then you can create a flywheel. If you don't have a plan, you're doing everything episodically and everything takes longer and you're sort of creating wheels all the time. You want a plan that helps you create a flywheel so that when you do something, it raises you up and it raises you up and it raises up, flywheel like. Implementation, sort of get that message and get out into the world, 3 to 6 months, because it is, again, not necessarily about your timing, but about their timing. And, we look at all the factors of the industry, of community, of what's going on in the world, what's going on in the calendar, to think about when's the best time to do things. That is all in play as well. But again, you're asking someone who doesn't have to know you to know you. So it takes time to get that interest and then turn that interest into an interview or a story or a piece or whatever it is. And then all along the way, you started on the plan with one set of assumptions, and all along the way, things are changing, because we're not working in a silo. We're not working in a bubble, because you're not paying for it. Other things are at play. So what happens in the weather? So here we are in a very warm weather situation. So all these stories that maybe companies who make shovels were planning for in the upper Midwest aren't coming to fruition because there is no snow. And then you have to come up with another idea. So you're always monitoring, and adjusting, because nothing is static. Human condition is not static. News is not static. And so we need to always be adjusting, not only to what's going on in the world, but also to the different people we want to have carry our message, right? And then really, if we're thinking about it, it's a relationship from a publication or a reporter or for a company. It's not just about this thing right now, it's about the long term. So then how do you establish that long-term reputation for being trustworthy, being able to provide information, being valuable, and all those things are super important. In terms of timelines, we're looking at a lot of different things. What's the industry timeline? When are those events? When do things happen? Every industry has its own set of timelines. What's your objectives? How long will they take? And what pieces did you have to do? And then what's going on in the media? The media landscape is so complicated. It's changing every single day. So many freelancers, so many people writing Substack, there's so many different, you got to pull a lot of little levers that you never really had to pull before. You got to be working many, many, many angles to make things happen. So it does take a long time, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Why? Because this long-term reputation, you build over time, you build trust over time, 1 by 1, 2 by 2. It's really not a millions by a millions in general, right? But it's what sets the foundation for your reputation, the trust, and the speed of which you can enter into partnership or into sales. And when you drop paid marketing on top of a great reputation, that effectiveness of that marketing and that paid spend just skyrockets, goes right through the roof. So yes, it does take time. Yes, it pays off if you stick at it. And people are always more urgent. They always have more sense of urgency to make it happen. The only thing I can tell you to make things happen faster is to start. If you don't start, every time you start, think about 6 months plus. So if you want something to happen in 6 months, start today. That's why we do Christmas in June. We do Christmas relations, talk about Christmas stories, Christmas things in June, because that's how long it takes. All right. It takes a long time. It's worth it, pays off, and it's more effective than so many paid things. We got a lot of data on that. All right, then. Hope that helps.